All right. Hello, friends. Looks like I'm live, but I always like to check and verify that real quick. All right. For sure. Okay. I'm going to click that off and make my screen so I can see what I'm doing live as well as see your comments and all that fun stuff as they come in. I hope you guys have had a good start to your week. We just got home from Arizona yesterday. We flew home after driving a U-Haul down for my mom. She has a cute little place down in Arizona now, and so we were taking a bunch of her stuff down to her. So we got to drive through Arizona, see really beautiful sights. We went to our favorite, we went to a concert of our favorite band on Sunday. That was super fun. I think this is actually where my audio is, so I should maybe pull this a little closer. And then just spent time with my mom, and my grandma is down there too. So super excited but excited to be home back in the cooler temps of Montana. Arizona is definitely hot. All right, well, I see some friends are joining. Hi, Randy, and hi, Joy. Hi, Peggy, and no worries, Peggy. I'm glad you dropped in to say hi. Work obviously comes first, so if you are busy, that's totally fine. And of course, the replay will be available after I end the stream. So whenever you have a minute, and if you want to learn some fun tips about toner foiling with a hot foil system, this will be a great one. So as mentioned, so last week when I was live, it was a resounding yes in the live to do some toner foiling. So those great like toner foil cards that come out with a Glimmer Hot Foil system. And the two things that you need for that to be able to do that is I'm using a Glimmer Hot Foil system. I think there's a couple more on the market that would work as well. And then you also need a solid hot foil plate. So I don't have a laminator. I don't have room for a laminator. And so I try to make do with the things that I have available to me. And this was one of those fun things that we figured out a while ago. So I've always thought that those toner cards are so cute, and I always wanted to use them, but I just didn't want to have another machine. So super excited to figure this out. I may need to pop out and grab myself a tissue. I think I forgot to take my allergy pill last night, so I'm even a little bit more stuffy today than I normally am. But I think that's what we're going to do. So I have a beautiful selection of all of the new Foilables designs from Pink and Main that we are going to feature. And then I have some different toner foils. We'll go over that. I also have some really fun sentiment pieces. And I think in the end, we'll probably make a couple of shaker cards with them. But really, truly, today's mostly going to be about foiling. So if you have any questions, feel free to share them in the comments as we go, and I will answer them as best I can. Hi, Stacy. I'm happy to hear that. So I am still waiting for my hot foil system to heat up so we can chat a little bit longer. I had turned it on just right before going live, and I think they take about 6 to 7 minutes to heat up fully. I do have my hot foil system, or excuse me, pull it up here. I do actually already have my solid hot foil plate on there getting heated up as well. And when we go to run the timer, I'll probably run that twice just to make sure it's nice and hot, and all will be good. So Peggy just got a hot Glimmer system, and she can't wait to use it. That's awesome. So I will point out multiple times throughout what I'm doing today is I am featuring toner foiling on a hot foil system. So this wouldn't be your standard hot foiling. So keep that in mind. Oh no, Randy. Well, you will have to get them back at some point. That's unfortunate. Randy said that she realized a few days ago that her Glimmer and solid plate are at her best friend's house. So, oh yay! Hi, Shannon. I'm glad you like foiling. Okay, so how about I am going to get my camera flipped over really quickly. I'll actually move my camera into view. Actually might move the die cut machine a little bit off here at first. So I will have to make a couple of adjustments to this once I switch over to this camera. So just bear with me for a moment. Okay. All right. There is that. Get that as nice and straight as possible. We will look at these in a little bit. I'm going to take them off my desk for now. But right now, basically, we are looking at our Glimmer Hot Foil system. So all I've done thus far is on the back, there's a little, well, I've plugged it in and there's a little power button and I've turned that power button on. And basically when that happens, the red power light comes on and I am waiting for the platform ready light to turn on first. And there we go. It just started. So because I want the solid hot foil plate to be really hot, it's a large chunk of metal. And so I like to run the timer twice. So while we're running the timer on this solid hot foil plate, we'll kind of go over the things that I plan to use today. So I have all of the new toner foil sheets from Pink and Main. I basically just have one of each design. And I'm not going to foil all of these by any means. I'm just going to pick and choose a few and we'll do a few different foils. I also have the Christmas colors toner sheets, which we will actually use one of these. And I'm not sure if I'm going to feature these, but we also have white toner sheets and you'll see where these kind of elements come into play a little bit later. And then of course we've got the sentiments, which we'll look at later as well. Oh, good to know, Peggy. Peggy has a lot of toner sheets, so this will be a good lesson for you. And Stacy's saying she used the wrong foil on her first attempt at using the toner panel with the solid plate. Now, yeah, and that's a very easy thing to do. Okay, side note, the timer button quit blinking, and typically that is a sufficient amount of time for just a standard hot foil plate or press plate. But because the solid plate is so solid and such a nice large chunk of metal, I'm going to restart the process. So this platform ready light will come on here very shortly. And then I will run the timer button one more time. And to me, that ensures that my solid hot foil plate is nice and heated up. Oh, yay. I'm excited to hear that, Shannon. So I will mention that this solid hot foil plate is the one from Pink Fresh Studio. My best friend, Heather Hoffman, she was the one who brought this whole product about. And I think it's just utterly brilliant. So I think there are other solid hot foil plates out there. This, I think, is the original. And to my knowledge, it's one of the ones that works better or best. So keep that in mind. But I think mine's a little dirty, but it should be okay. We'll see. And I have always gotten pretty excellent results toner foiling with the solid hot foil plate. Sometimes you get a little bit of over foiling. But I have noticed that more on like acetate sheets than I have on just like the standard paper sheets. So good thing to mention there. While this is doing this, I'm going to grab the plates and I'm going to grab a tissue. So hold tight. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I needed to get the plates that, the sandwich that helps it run through your die cut machine. So I do add a paper shim into my sandwich. These days, I think my die cut machines are starting to wear out a little bit, and I do foil a lot with press plates, and press plates are a little thinner than hot foil plates. And so I think that they need that little bit of extra depth from just a nice standard cardstock shim that I've put in there. And I've always actually used one with a solid plate. So, oh, you're welcome, Shannon. No problem. I think I put just a link to the new release for Pink and Main. When this is over, when the live is over, I'll actually make a more specific link list of the products that I featured and used today. and I will add them to the video description. And of course, if you're interested in anything that I am using today and want to add it to your collection, I, of course, really appreciate when you feature my links. Okay, this is basically ready to go. I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute. Let's pick out a panel that we want to use. And I know that there's a really cute, this one right here. So this one is called Home for Christmas. And it is this really adorable, like Christmas scene. It's got all of these cute little Christmas icons, wreaths and stockings and a candle and a nutcracker, a bell, a tree. I think this is just the cutest little set. So I think we're going to for sure foil these guys. I think I'm going to foil both of those ones. And then I know I want to do, I think in these a little bit larger, the holiday foliage sheets. I think for sure I want to do the pine boughs here. And that, I think I have a good green tone that will work on those. Okay, so we're going to do those ones. And then maybe we'll foil one more design from, let's look at the simple holiday foilable sheets. And we also have some sentiments to foil too. Is there anything in this one that I want to foil? Let's do the Christmas lights because I have actually a fun idea for that one. And I may or may not foil both panels. We'll see. We'll see how it goes here, what I think here. Okay, so let's start with different types of toner foil. So Pink and Main has their own. This one is they call theirs Cheer Foil. Currently, I have 2 colors. I think they have way more colors than 2, but these are just the ones I currently own. This, I believe, is their champagne, and this is their new red. Of course, the name of it is slipping my mind, so I apologize, but it is in the brand new release. So these are the Pink and Main toner foils. So as mentioned, you always want to make sure that your foil is meant for toner. I don't see that anywhere, but a lot of times you'll see the word transfer, and that is a great indicator that it's meant for toner. So there's also deco foil, and these also say transfer sheets. And then in the description, a lot of times they will put in their dual purpose, can be used as a toner reactive foil or a textile foil. I don't actually know what it means for a textile foil, so don't quote me on that, but I do know that the deco foil transfer sheets work for toner foil. I believe Tailored Expressions has her own foils, and I think Gina K has foils, and I believe hers are manufactured by Thermoweb as well. There's probably others out there, but I don't know all of the different options. So the key kicker is that when you're using when you're using toner-based cards, you need to use toner reactive foil. So you do not want to use the foil that say Spellbinders sells, which is meant for standard hot foiling for the Glimmer Hot Foil system. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and we are going to start with one of these fun scenes. We might actually do both of them in this cute sparkly red foil. Now I have a sample size of the foil. I think you get way more foil in a full pack, so keep that in mind. I actually really appreciate that they send sample sizes to those of us that are guesting, just because it's hard to have a lot of areas to store things and don't have a lot of extra room. So I actually really appreciate that. And they did this time around, they also did these little sample packs of all of the toner panels, so that I don't want to ask for a pack of toner foils that have like 8 in a pack, because I typically won't make it to using all of them. But these would be really fun for doing like bulk creating. So definitely really good for crafting your Christmas cards or your holiday cards. If you're wanting to get a lot of images, you get 4 each of both designs in a pack. So you get 8 in each pack. They're affordable. And later on, I'm going to show you how you can use the leftover foil as well, so that you're not wasting leftover foil. So keep that in mind. All right, so these are A2 in size. So I'm going to trim my foil down to be the exact size. So let's see, we'll go just a tiny bit bigger than 4 1/4, just to be on the safe side. And then trim it down to 5 1/2-ish, maybe just a little bit bigger than that. Actually, that's plenty big. It's plenty, that works for me. I don't need to trim it down because I don't need to save that piece. I will need that again in the future. Okay, let's do our first piece. And I think I'm going to start with the more solid option. Set these aside for now. Let's get my die cut machine. My die cut machine sometimes throws off the color, so I do apologize if that happens here. All right, so here are the steps that I take. So first things first, I know it's heated up. I'm going to remove the actual hot piece from the platform. And then we're going to put our foil pretty side down along with our toner card and just make sure it fits within the confines of that solid plate. And then we're going to add our shims. That frosted green shim is the heat resistant one, so I always put that first, then my paper shim, and then the top spacer pad, which is the clear one. And the two, those come with the Glimmer Hot Foil system. And then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. I am going to go forwards and backwards on this. Ooh, got a hair in there. Let's get that off. Okay, so then let's see the results we got here. And oh, my toner card kind of stuck to the panel. So give me a second here. I may need to put a paper shim in between those. Ah, there we go. Got it off. So keep in mind that it can stick to your thin shim a little bit. So I've never had that happen before. I wonder if it was just too hot. Anyway, but look at how fantastic that turned out. And we have this great outline piece, which technically is the same as this panel. But if we use some of those, and I'll show you how to use these a little bit later, but you can also reuse this, and then you're not wasting really any of your foil. Okay, so that kind of stuck to that panel. I'm going to try something. I am going to try putting the paper shim in the place of that, and hopefully maybe that will make it so that that panel doesn't stick. But that still turned out beautiful, and I love the little kind of speckly design in the foil. But like, isn't that just awesome? Like, it was super easy to accomplish. I have heard from people that sometimes they have a little bit harder of a time dialing in their laminators, and this was just super easy. I've never had it stick to that before, so I'm going to try and see if adding the paper shim in between that and the thin shim helps. Let's see. This is a lot of just like testing and trying things out. So let's just see how all of that fun stuff works. Okay. For my next one, let's do let's do the pine boughs, and we're going to do the non-solid version this time. Now I think this guy's a little bigger than A2 sized. Let me see. Oh, here's the difference. So these smaller ones actually mat within an A2 panel. So they're technically 4 by 5.25. These ones are full A2 size. So edge to edge A2 paneling. Okay. Good to know the difference in the sizes there. Okay. So let me see. I have color. Do I want to use here? Or are these exactly the same? I've got a couple shades of green. I want to see the difference. I think one might be iridescent and one is not. So I've got Lily Pad and Spring Green, and I think Lily Pad is iridescent. So that's the one I'm going to pick out for the pine boughs. Hi, Wendy. So glad you're jumping on. No worries that you're late. We're just doing some toner foiling today with a Glimmer Hot Foil system. You haven't missed much. I've only cut one panel, or only done one panel so far. And I need to trim one of these sheets down. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that fun? I love the little holographic part of it. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. I hit my camera. Let me get that back to normal here. Sorry about that. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. I've got a small work area here, so it starts to get a little bit, just starts to get to be a little bit too much. So you may not see me trim this panel down perfectly. Okay. So there's that. And that's a good size for it. All right, let's try this again. And I just roll these back up when I'm done with them, like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. I put them back in their little case thing they came in. Okay, let's try this again and see if putting the paper in between the shim and that panel works. Okay, so I'm going to remove this from the base. I am going to put the foil pretty side down along with that toner panel. It's a little bit bigger, so you definitely want to make sure you get in the confines of the solid hot foil plate. And then this time I'm going to put paper down first. And let's see if, hopefully that won't make it so it doesn't stick this time. Okay, I'm going to run this through. Go forwards and backwards. Let's see if that did a better job. Oh, perfect. It did not stick that time. So hopefully that might be something new I learned today. And then you remove it and look at those perfect results. We have the leftover here that we can use. This might, and this, it didn't like, I thought it overfoiled, but it didn't. It's just literally perfect. Look at how perfect that is, friends. Oh, I just love it. Okay, so we have the two panels. So as you can see, that first one I used just slightly smaller. It's already basically matted. It's to matte within an A2 card. This is edge to edge A2. So basically an 1/8 inch longer on each side. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Stacy. All right, let's heat that up again. And this time we are going to do these really super fun lights, but we're going to do them in like a rainbow one. And there is a really fun rainbow option. I just got to find it. I think it's this one. I've got two in the deco foil category. I've got Rainbow Shattered Glass and Mystic Rainbow. So Mystic Rainbow is more of like a dreamy ombre. And then this one, if you can tell, it's got like little shattered glass options. Both are cool. I think I'm going to try this one with the Mystic Rainbow option. So while this guy is heating up, let's trim another panel out here. Let's see. Oh, that is too small, so that I'll have to use on something else. I'm gonna have to cut out another panel here. But let's just trim one of these down. Oh, you're so welcome, Shannon. I am so happy to hear that. I love when I can share something that is helpful for crafters. It's just kind of something we happened upon when the solid hot foil plate came out a while back, and I love to share it too. I always loved those little toner cards, but I didn't have a way to use them other than just keeping them black and white, which they're lovely black and white, but there's definitely something special about foiling them. Okay, and that little piece can be used for sentiments, all the things. Okay, let's do another panel here. Let's see how this rainbow one turns out. I think it's going to be super cool. All right, same as before. Remove the platform from the base. Do foil pretty side down. Make sure it's within the confines of the solid hot foil plate. Now, of course, you are limited to the size of the solid hot foil plate, so keep that in mind. Paper shim first, and then the plates. And run it through. Get this a little closer. Okay. And now, actually, I need to foil something in like a gold. So I'm going to pick another design to foil. And look at this. Even those little tiny light flecks, they're not perfect, but they still foiled pretty darn well. And how fun is that? Randy, can you help me out with your question a little bit? Is that both glimmer shim plate things? Are you meaning these? Because yes, these come with the Glimmer Hot Foil system, the thin shim and the spacer pad. If I didn't answer that correctly, please let me know and I will try to re-answer. But let's pick one more foil design. Let's pick one of those smaller ones. Let's see, what do we want to do? We've got the little nutcracker guys. There's just a fun holly leaf. Maybe I'll do one of those. And I'm going to do the solid version. So let's do this guy in gold. So I'm going to use I think this is the Champagne Cheer Foil from Pink and Maine. I'm just going to trim a panel of it. Okay, perfect. I answered that question. Good. Have a great day, Stacy. So glad you jumped on for a minute. Of course, if you want to see any more, it'll be available for replay whenever you have a minute. But thank you so much for jumping on. Okay, there's that. Okay. Get that out of my way while I trim. Shannon said holly leaf. Okay, good. Hopefully that is the one you were thinking. All right. Probably will use this for a couple sentiments too. Okay, let's do this one more time, and then we are going to foil some sentiments, and we will. I'll show you some ways that you can use the leftover foil as well. And then we'll probably make a couple of shaker cards and call it good. All right, so same as last, foil pretty side down along with the toner panel. The thin shim and spacer pad, plus the paper shim, and just run it through. Okay. Oh, that one. And let's reveal the awesome details on this one. That is just so cool, right? All right. Okay, so I think we're going to be done foiling the panels for now. Before we do sentiments, I just want to show what the point is of these toner sheets that Pink and Maine has come out with. So there's a white one, and I think she has some other colors. This is the latest option, and it is the Christmas Colors toner sheets. And these are just basically colored toner sheets. And these ones are what they chose as I'm losing my train of thought here. Christmas colors. So they're a little bit brighter on my video than they are in real life. So they're a little tiny bit more muted. So I'm going to take this really lovely kind of forest green tone color, and we are going to use that with that leftover foil that I just featured. And we're going to foil that to this green color. And this is what these toner foils are for. So this one is allowing you, so the colored ones obviously are allowing you to have a color underneath. This white one basically is just like white, you know, foiling into white cardstock, but you do need it to be toner activated. So these are toner sheets. So essentially, so let's take a look at the negative of this one. It's no different than the standard option. I gotta find it here. So the sheets often come with both where did I put that guy? Maybe I already have, I do already have it out. So basically this is this. It's the same thing, but the thing that I like about it, maybe it goes that way. There we go. The thing that I like about it though is, yes, you can do this, but by keeping these sheets and just getting some of that toner, the toner sheets, you can also use up all of the rest of your foil. And I love not wasting things. So, and then you just get more panels, more options, and you're truly using your supplies to the fullest extent. Okay, so let's try this out. I actually have not used one of the colored toner panels before. So we are going to do this together and see how it turns out. I think it's going to turn out great. All right, so that's all within the confines of the green. I'm going to do the same shim method, and let's see how this turns out. Okay. Let's see. And this, had a little mishap there, but that's okay. I can cover that with a sentiment, no harm, no foul, right? And you've got just a really cool foiled element on a colored background. So it's a little bit like foiling to colored cardstock. So I just think it turned out super fun. Okay, let's also do one more of these. Let's maybe do the green one onto white. So we've got just these white, and these panels are a little bit larger. So I think I'm going to trim it in half. Yes, I am definitely going to trim this guy in half. That should be big enough for what I need it for. So how big is this originally? Does it say on the packaging? 8.5 by, oh yeah, so it cuts down to exactly A2. Hit the timer button on that. Okay, so we have 2 of these, so maybe we'll do 2 and just get them all finished up here. So we're going to try that more solid option this time. And then maybe before we get to sentiments, let me know in the comments if you would rather see the red outline foiled or the rainbow light bulbs. So I'm going to foil that green one first. So let me know in the comments if you have a preference before we move over to sentiments. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of get this lined up in here, like so. Perfect. Just trying to make sure most of the design is within the confines of the toner card. We're just waiting for this to heat up. I feel like my lighting kind of keeps changing, but that's okay. All right, we've got 1 vote for the red outline. from Shannon. All right. Let's do this again. And then the shiny rainbow lights. I might have to be a tiebreaker. Who knows? Okay, so there's those. Let's put down that. And let's run it through. All right, let's see how this guy results on this guy. And it is just amazing results. 100% amazing results. Look at that. How amazing is that? I just love the iridescent look. Okay. Well, we've got one of each, so maybe I'll just do them both. If you guys are fine with hanging out with me for a little bit longer, I can cut one more of those panels and we could do both. Okay. Keep in mind, I'm not going to make cards out of all of these today. I'm probably just going to get to 2 cards here. Because I definitely wanted to spend more of the time foiling. And so, honest truth, now that I have heated this up so many times, I probably don't need to keep hitting the timer button. Let's go ahead and try it out. I think we'll be okay. I think that this has probably plenty of heat by now. If we get bad results, we know that, no, we absolutely need to heat up the timer every single time, but I think we'll be good. So let's go ahead and try it. And that, if it works, just saves time, right? Like, we don't have to do so many heat up sessions. Try this again. And let's see how this works. Oh, thank you, Shannon. That's super kind of you. So, Randy, the reverse foiling on standard hot foiling is definitely it can be a bit finicky for sure. So I totally get and understand that. So yeah, and hopefully maybe you will get better results on this one. So interesting, it kind of pulled up a little bit of the toner sheet itself, but it kept down, but it adhered down all of the foil. I don't know if you can see that on here. It kind of lifted up some of the panel underneath. It's a kind of a weird, that's a weird thing. I've never seen that happen. This will still be an awesome shaker card because once you put a shaker window on it and fill it up with shaker fillings, no one will ever notice that. But that was a little strange. I haven't seen that happen. So let's cut one more panel and I'll just go ahead and do the rainbow one as well. I'm just going to trim this off camera, so give me 1 second to trim. Okay. All right, so let's try this one. So this one did not foil absolutely perfectly. Some of the little bright light or the little bright things didn't foil perfectly, but I'm a big proponent of it's handmade, not Hallmark. And I am okay if there's little imperfections here and there. I mean, like even that same panel where it weirdly kind of pulled up the back of that toner sheet. And maybe this is where we find some limitations with using the solid hot foil plate. I'm not completely sure. We are going to find out. Oh, thank you, Randy. That's super kind. I'm going to try this again without doing the heat up and just see how it works. I'm lining it up on the design so as much of the design comes through as possible. Put on that paper shim. Ooh, it's starting to get windy out there. That might have moved a little bit. We'll see. Okay. Let's see if this one worked and if it worked any better. Okay. And this one is doing the same thing. This one turned out a little bit worse. So maybe I need to think of a new technique for this one. It still works, but this is one that I probably wouldn't use on a card unless it was a shaker. So for some reason it is pulling up that underneath, and I'm not completely sure why, because it's weird. It's pulling up the underneath, but it's leaving the foil. So I'll look into that and see what I can figure out. But until then, I am going to heat this up. And look at all of these fantastic panels we have. Like, these are amazing, right? I think they turned out so fun. Especially love the pine boughs. And let's do a few sentiments. So while this is heating up, I want to show you guys something. So this is the, get these on here. All of these sentiments come in the, what is it called? The Handlettered Holiday Greetings Foilables cut-ups. And so they come in this fantastic package. And there are, does it say that have the piece count on here? 37 pieces. And not one of them repeats itself. So I think that's awesome. You just get all of these really cool sentiments here, and you can just have a foiling heyday. I love that they're already cut for you, so you don't have to worry about that. They're ready to foil. You can put, 3 or 4 of them on your solid hot foil plate, and you can do all different colors with them. So it is really super cool. It is weird, Shannon. I'm not completely sure. I'm going to have to look into that because I've used the white foilables before this way. And so I'm wondering if my paper shim caused it. I'll do some research, but it is a little strange. But how cool are these sentiments? I just love them. And like I said, you get 37 different sentiments. There isn't one sentiment that repeats itself. I think I did end up with a couple of repeats. I think they might have just been stuck to the one underneath when it got packaged. So, hi, Sandy. So happy you joined on. Okay, so looking at the panels I've already foiled here, let's put them together. I know for sure I'm going to use one of these pine bough ones. So I'll probably foil a sentiment in gold for that. And then we have the adorable, I might do the pine boughs, and for sure this one, the red and the gold, the red and the green, because I also have these fantastic sequins that I think will be really pretty in the shaker. So I may end up not using the lights and the holly, but I did still want to show foiling on that colored panel. I may end up using the first 2 just to match those really cool sequins I have, but look at how fun those turned out. Okay, so if I'm going to use the pine bough, either the solid or the non-solid, I think I probably would want a sentiment in gold. And I've kind of arranged them by theme. We have ones that are more like about season's greetings. These ones are all very specific to Merry Christmas. And those are like a little bit just general holiday. We've got Merry and Bright in a few different designs, and then more all is bright, like the more like Christmas Carol. We've got a couple winter ones in here. Sandy, I actually don't have a laminator, so the purpose behind my live today was showing how to use toner foils with a hot foil system, because that's all I have. So unfortunately I don't have that option, but I would if I could. It's the most wonderful time of the year. These ones are more like holly jolly based, jingle bells, and then joy to the world. I think I'm going to do the it's the most wonderful time of the year for the pine boughs for sure. And then for this guy, one of these, not sure which one, I'm probably going to do 2 gold sentiments. The sentiments aren't done in any different way. We're going to do them exactly the way that we did the toner panels. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Maybe I'll just do a nice Merry Christmas sentiment. There's a few different styles here. And I think I am going to go with We Wish You a Merry Christmas. So I'm going to go with these two. We wish you a Merry Christmas and that it's the most wonderful time of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and get these out of my way here and put this back on here. And so basically, we need some gold now. Let me look in my little thing here for the best option for gold. And I think that's this one. It's just nice plain gold. And this one, let me see what I have in here. I think I've used this one a bit. So let me see. I've got a little smaller piece here. And here is what I love about these ones is you can just take some scissors and trim them right down to size for the sentiment. And I just love that. Let's do the same thing with the It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Probably just trim it all the way to the edge there. Okay. Okay, let's do this one more time and then we will assemble a couple of shaker cards and call it good for the day. So I'm just going to remove that. Now, of course, we want to put it toner side down, pretty foil side down like so. Do that with both. And then just go ahead and run it through. The only thing I could think of when I was doing those white toner sheets is I have never done so many things in a row before. And I wonder if my system is almost a little too hot at this point for it. Something to think about. Something I hadn't thought about, but could be the culprit here. But check that out. Like, how perfect is that? And then, of course, you won't have the dye, but you could always foil these onto die cut pieces of cardstock from that white toner foil. It's going to be a little bit hard because it doesn't have a die set, but if you didn't want to waste these, it's certainly an option that you could do there. So I've got a little overfoiling on the edges, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry too much about that. But those turned out super fun. Okay, we've done a lot of foiling today, so I'm going to go ahead and put the foiling stuff away. And I'm going to take this off. This is a little tool that I got from Simon Says Stamp, and it's a great magnet tool, and it is powerful enough to lift a solid hot foil plate off of your hot foil system. I used to use a Misty magnet in the past because the one that comes with the machine is not intended for such a heavy piece. So I love that that thing came out a while back. All right, I'm going to unplug my system and set it aside to cool, and then we'll be back and we'll assemble a couple of cards. Okay, so like I mentioned, I think I'm for sure, I am going to base my cards on these guys today. I'm only going to make two just for the sake of time. We'll definitely probably go over that hour mark. And I will just make cards with the other pieces later. So I also have these really fun sequins from, there we go, sorry about that, from Pink and Main that also just released. And then I'll probably throw some glitter in there as well. goes to my die cut machine. I will put that on later. And essentially what I did and why I have this is to cool it off quicker. So basically by dispersing the heat on that glass mat, I can actually already touch this and put it away. If I had put it on anything other than glass or just left it on the system, it would have taken forever to cool off. And I like to cool things off, get things put away, cleaned up, as quickly as possible. So that's the reason why I did that. And now I can just put it away. Okay, so we need some plastic sheets. This is just like leftover packaging material. You might need more than one, so we'll grab a couple here. And we need double-sided adhesive so we can turn these into panels. So I think I am going to use that solid version and then the non-solid version from the red. So this guy I am going to need to trim down a little bit to get that excess off there. So let's go ahead and trim this guy down. And I like using my little I have a little wire metal guide on things like this, just because it makes it so that I get right to that line on the design and don't waste any, but also don't leave any of the red behind either, the excess red. Anyway. Okay. And there's that. And we have just the tiniest bit that needs to get cut off the top here. Let's see how this works. Okay, we're gonna see. Oh, it did it pretty well. Not too bad, not too shabby. Okay, so there's that one. So this one I believe will mat within the card base. Yep, so it's 4 by about 5.25. It might be a little smaller after all of that trimming, but that's okay. So this guy is going to mat within a card base. This one is going to just stay edge to edge on a card base. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do there. Okay, so no trimming needed on the pine bough panel. I will need to fold a few cards, or a couple of cards here in a minute, but I think these are so pretty. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some edge-to-edge shaker panels. So I'm just verifying these don't have any holes. They do up there, but I can trim that away. But sometimes when you do clear packaging, you get a random little hole here and there, and I'm just verifying that this doesn't have that anywhere. And then I'm just going to trim down the edge. Actually, probably just can get both. I bet you I can get both out of this one, just this one packaging. So oftentimes what I am just using leftover packaging. I think most of the time they are from like 3D embossing folders. I always pull the 3D embossing folders out of their packaging and just use them. This guy is being really dumb. There we go. I'm going to trim that away anyway, but so I pretty much always pull 3D embossing folders out of the packaging that they come in. And so that is typically what I am using these for. Okay, just making sure all is good. Okay. So then I always like to give myself enough room here on each side, and then just take some scissors and trim it down. I don't typically keep the little remnants just because when I'm doing edge-to-edge shakers, I'm usually not doing anything smaller than A2. So it's just easier this way. Okay, so then this one, where did that other panel go? Back here. So then here we have this guy. And I know I've got that thing at the front I need to trim down. So let's do that. And then trim a little excess off here. right, so then we need to put double-sided tape on the back of each panel. Oh, that's good to know, Randy. I really truly prefer shaker cards this way. The other way is fine, but I find this method so much easier and thinner. It's a little bit thinner when you send it than the more traditional way. So, but that's good to know that they mailed well. But this is definitely one of my preferred ways to create shakers. One, I think they're easy. It might be the lazy way to make a shaker, but I actually prefer to call that more efficient. And if it's more mail friendly and it actually survives in the mail as well and doesn't get all crushed and stuff, that's pretty awesome too. Oops, I need to leave one. Accidentally got my brain sidetracked there for a second, but I need the top. I need one piece to stay together. So then on that clear element, you want to create the window, the envelope, I guess, and get it adhered into place just on 3 sides. And we'll trim away the excess shortly. I kind of adhered that on there crooked. That's okay. I am not too worried about that. Okay, so I have these. My husband had to help me open these. They are very sealed little packages, which is probably good. That's actually probably really great, but they were very hard for me to open. So keep that in mind. You may need some assistance opening these little shaker windows. That kind of got glued a little funky. Let me see if I can fix it. Hold on. Hold, please. This bottom piece glued a little funky. I may just start over real quick. Yep, I'm going to do that. I don't know how that happened, but there. So let's get this back normal. Good thing to know that you can peel it away and start again. There was just like weird excess down at the bottom, and I'm not completely sure how I did that. Much better. Hi, Marianne. No worries. Hi, Clara. So glad you guys are jumping in. I'm kind of starting to get to the end of my live after I make these shaker cards, but there is no worries about that. I'm glad you jumped on. And of course, the replay will be available if you want to check it out in full later on. So let's do a couple spoons of red. And so I'm sticking a lot with traditional Christmas colors because I wanted to feature these really pretty, they're like confetti style sequins. And so while I typically don't do a whole lot of traditional, I'm kind of a more non-traditional color, Christmas color person. I actually really think these are super fun. And then I'm going to add some glitter as well into the mix. So you fill your shaker up. And before you do any shaking, you got to seal it. So do that too. Make sure it's nice and flat. So then once you have it sealed, you can shake up, get all of those things mixed together. So you've got this stunning, lovely shaker element here. I agree, Randy. It is an easier way to make shakers. How fun is that? Can you see the glitter? It looks like it's frosted. These look like frosted berries. Oh, I love it. Okay, so then we've got all this kind of ugly excess, right? So it's really easy. Just trim it away. You don't have to get it all, but I do suggest getting the stuff that kind of hits those corners so that it doesn't stick out when you glue this down to a card base. Hi, Allison. Good to see you. So glad you popped on for a minute. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Thank you, Marianne. I mean, and look at how easy that was to just make an amazing card out of that. Throw on a sentiment and you're good to go. All right, let's do the same with the pine bough. I'm not going to use the red sequins on this one. I'm only going to use the green and the glitter. But let's go ahead and make our shaker element for this guy as well. And so I don't have a frame die picked out. One of these after the live is over, I may end up adding like a little frame element to the shaker. I It's just die cutting and then probably popping up with some foam strips. So I'm probably not going to do that part live. I'm just going to make the little shaker, finish the little shaker elements, and call it good for live. So you'll see the photos, or in the photos, which I'll take hopefully today if the light stays well. I know it's kind of stormy out there. It got stormy out there while I was doing my live, but we'll see a little earlier in the live. Pardon me. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Marianne. Okay, this time I made sure only to remove the release paper from the 3 sides. Doesn't really matter actually what side it's on. So let's get the bottom adhered first, and then make sure it doesn't get all wonky on us this time, so I don't have to peel it away, and try again. Okay, so then this time I'm going to do glitter first, I think. And actually, I think I will add red. I actually may only add red sequins, sequins into this one, so that they'll actually kind of look like berries. How fun is that? I think that's what I'm going to do instead of green. But I'm second guessing myself. I'm trying to decide if we're going to do red. I'm going to add it in as berries, and I think that will help tie into the other card as well. Okay. Get those ones that fell on my mat here. Wondering if I need to add a little more. Maybe I'll do one more scoop since this one doesn't have any green in it. Okay. Okay, that I think is good. Let's actually add just a tiny bit more glitter to the top of that so it kind of gets mixed in. Remove the release paper. Oh, kind of tore that time. And hopefully so a little bit will stick, but that's okay. Just make sure I get a good seal so nothing can slip out. I may not trim that one just because I don't want any of my shaker glitter stuff to come out. But let's take a look at that one. Oh, that is fantastic. I love the berries on this one. That is so fun. Oh my goodness. So cute. Oh, I love this. Look at how fun those turned out. Oh, so Randy is asking what kind of glitter I use. This is just a big container that I pour glitter that I get into it just all together. It's mostly a combination of fine Prisma glitter and then chunky Prisma glitter. I think a lot of it's Lawn Fawn. I think a lot of it, there might be some from old Spellbinders glitter that they used to carry, or FSJ, and then also just some glitter that you can get at craft store. It's just a nice big mix. But I would say the biggest amount is fine Prisma and chunky Prisma are in here, but I just tend to pour into this container when I get little containers of glitter. All right, let's trim away some of this excess plastic here. And like I said, I'm going to leave this one and probably glue it down just to make sure I don't cut a hole and make a place where my shaker mix can come out. You're welcome. Okay, so as mentioned, I'll do the card bases and stuff later because I think I will probably end up adding a couple of frames to this, and I don't want to take much over that hour mark today for you. So, but I think that it's the most wonderful time of the year is going to go on that shaker, and We Wish You a Merry Christmas is going to go on the pine boughs, but I won't attach them until I add a couple of frames. So I'm going to do that off camera, so you'll see them in the photos. They'll just be little decorative frames that frame up what we did here. Maybe I'll even make this one a landscape card since it actually works that way, so they get a little bit of differentiation. But I think that is how they're going to end up with little frames.
They do look like sugared berries. That is actually what I noticed and actually kind of loved about this card here. So, all right, friends, that is toner foiling with a Glimmer Hot Foil system. I hope you liked how they turned out. Let's take one more look at all of the different panels we created today. So we did the gold, the shimmery, or the satin, kind of satiny champagne. And then we took the leftover foil and foiled it onto like that evergreen colored piece. It's very bold and elegant. I think that'll be a lovely card. And then we did the rainbow as well, the Mystic Rainbow, and did the solid foiled version, which I need to figure out what is happening there with that white toner foil in the background. I'll look into that and maybe do a little troubleshooting. And then we had our two standard, that basically the opposite elements of these ones. And I wasted no foil. I used every foil and it turned out super fun. So as mentioned, I will get a complete supply list right after this in my video description. Now that I know everything I've used. But I'm going to flip the camera back around to me and I'll let you go for the day. Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun learning about toner foiling with a hot foil system. For friends that don't have a hot foil system, I know that there are a lot of tutorials out there for using a mink or a laminator, so I would check that out. I don't have any knowledge or information on that because I don't own one of those systems, so I'm sorry I couldn't help there with that. But if you happen to have a Glimmer Hot Foil system and a solid hot foil plate, it's a fun way to be able to use all of those adorable toner cards that get released. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate it. Thank you, Deborah. I'm so glad you popped on. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Peggy. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the day. I will be back Friday at 11 a.m. I haven't scheduled it yet, so I will schedule it soon. And I think, I have not fully decided yet, but I think I might use this month's Hero Studio for my Friday Live. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, whether you let me know just in the comments after when this is on replay. I would love to hear. Maybe I'll put a little poll in the community section here on YouTube, and I might do it like on Facebook and Instagram and all that. So check those places to help me make a decision on what I do live on Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Until then, hope you guys have a great week. Hope you get some crafty time. And I just hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Clara. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you all being here. And until next time, I hope you are able to get some crafting time in and just have a really awesome rest of your week. Bye, friends.